video is all about you and Venus retrograde, what you can expect, and what's going on in the current transits right now. So for Pisces risings, you're gonna have Venus retrograding in your 6th house, Leo. And what this means is that the things that you value, the things that support you, the planet that represents these things, which is Venus, is taking a reflective look in your 6th house. Your 6th house represents how you handle conflict. It's how you handle problems, how you respond to health issues. It's about your day-to-day activities and your ideal work environment. And with Leo here, this tells you that this is the area of your life to focus on in order to derive confidence, in order to feel good expressing yourself, in order to stay connected to that inspired creative energy that makes you uniquely you. So take this time during the retrograde to reflect on what you're doing in your day-to-day habits. What kind of work environment are you in? Are you engaging actively in a way that ultimately supports you? Is the way that you are moving about in the world and how you plan your day-to-day life giving you that creativity, that spark? Because your 6th house is about your daily habits, for Pisces, more than other signs, making time for creative things is going to be something that's not only going to be fulfilling for you, not only going to be physically healthy for you, but it's also going to be really good for your mindset as well, and honestly your emotional well-being, because Pisces are predisposed to escapist tendencies, depression. This isn't everyone, of course, this is a generalization, but Pisces being the most sensitive sign, it's important to find healthy outlets, and art therapy is just such a lovely thing for you to do. This is why a lot of Pisces risings pursue creative careers. Living in Los Angeles, a lot of actors have this placement, a lot of creative artists, and whether this is something that you choose to pursue professionally or not, doing this in your day-to-day activity is going to be really beneficial to have that optimism, to have that creativity. And in your ideal environment, this is something that you want to do. And if you're a boss, which you should be, because in your day-to-day habit, it's showing that like you have the sign Leo, which is about leaders here. It's about ruling your kingdom. And so if you could find a way to be a ruler in your kingdom, whether it's having control and authority over your day-to-day habits, or being able to have control and authority in your job, in your health, how you express yourself, more than likely you're gonna have a profession where you get to be creative. This is something that you're likely to grow into yourself, and this may be related to health. Or if you're a boss, make sure that you might have employees that are very Leo in nature, creating a space to make sure that they have an environment where they can express themselves in a unique way is going to be a really ideal work environment for you. Share that space. Allow people around you in your work environment to be in the spotlight. This is going to be really beneficial. And a good way to know if you're in alignment with what you're experiencing, if you're in alignment, if the things that you're doing supports you or not, is to look at what's going on in your health. Because sometimes, because Pisces is the sign of confusion, you might not necessarily know if what you're doing is best or not. And so this is where I like to lean on medical astrology. I've been trained as a medical astrologer. It's not a service that I offer, but if that's something that you want to learn more about, I did do a collaboration with medical astrologer Dr. Maria Johnson, and she's absolutely phenomenal. Go to my YouTube channel and check her out. We did an amazing video on that. But as a generalization for Pisces risings, having Leo in your 6th house of your health, Leo rules the spine. So how is the condition of your spine? Oftentimes what I've observed is that for Pisces risings, if you're not in alignment in your day-to-day habits, you can potentially have some spinal challenges, some spinal issues, and this can correlate with not having a sense of confidence, putting yourself in the spotlight, expressing yourself. And so whether you're experiencing this right now or not, because confidence can be something that Pisces risings struggle with, because the 6th house is about challenges, look at ways that you can boost this confidence in this area of your life try to find ways to make creativity a daily task. Make it small, manageable, so that and accessible, so that you can do this. And this can actually also help Pisces risings who struggle with addiction and escapism, because there's a lot of hypersensitivity here, and art is a way to escape in a healthy way, so that you are able to sort of decompress from the demands of the human world, which can be really overwhelming for Pisces, and so that you can have that sense of stability. And when you are experiencing problems and you are frustrated, this is the best time to look at what is the optimistic way to resolve this. How can I innovate and how can I be creative in order to resolve this problem? You want to be unique and independent about this, because this is the energy of Leo. This is very solar energy. Not only do you have Venus retrograding in your 6th house here, but you also have your Sun and Mercury here. So your Sun is in rulership here, and the Sun is about truth energy, what energizes you. Going out into the sunlight is something that's going to be really beneficial for you in your day-to-day experiences. So try to make that a priority for yourself as much as you can. The Sun is really beneficial for everyone, but especially for you if you have health challenges. It's very much gonna help. And Mercury is about the mindset that you have. So while this is an aspect where, while this is a placement where you might struggle with, or have to manage things related to Leo, where it's like you might have some challenges with feeling confident, your mindset is in that space right now, and depending on the aspects you have, this might be a time where you're more connected with what makes you feel confident, or other times, or it may be that you're struggling with it, in which case use some Leo energy to support you. Surround yourself with other people that inspire you. Feed off of that energy. Dance, hang out with children, eat orange fruits, just do small things that make you feel good, and turn these opportunities into making it creative. One of my friends, she has Mercury in Leo, and she sliced up some oranges, which is very basic, but she put like some raspberry infused salt on there, and it just really it made it all sparkly. It was the most Leo presentation of oranges. And don't worry, I'm not just gonna give you recommendations like this that are superficial. I just thought I should do that because it's really fun energy, which is very Leo. But if you do struggle with confidence, creativity, things of that nature, whenever there's a planet that's retrograding, you want to look at the sign that planet rules and what house or houses that it's in your chart. And so for you, Venus rules Taurus, which is in your 3rd house, and Libra, which is in your 8th house. So your 3rd house is about your mindset, your thinking, your communication style, and your early childhood experiences, how you learn, and your day-to-day environment. So think about your mindset and how you think. The condition of your natural Venus is also going to be a major indicator with this, but essentially this is to say that what's going to support your mindset is to create a day-to-day environment where you feel grounded. The thoughts that you have and your mindset, the way that you communicate, find a way to interact in these ways in a way that feels supportive, that's easy to maintain, that feels good and is indulgent. And this can be using essential oils or whatever process helps you to feel grounded and stuff, particularly during this time while these themes can come up. If you struggle with things related to confidence, this can be a time where some childhood stuff comes up. Take a look at what that looks like for you. What did you learn in your early childhood? What beliefs do you have? Are they supporting you? How are they supporting you? How are they not supporting you? How can you stabilize it? How can you look at things differently that make it easier for you? And how can you practice this in your day-to-day activity? And Leo is very creative, Venus is very creative, so using a creative approach is going to be really beneficial. And this is a really beautiful alignment because of the connection, because Leo also rules children. Third house is about your early childhood experiences. So you could kind of weave this in. And also, Venus rules your 8th house, which is about your traumas, and it's about your trauma loops, trauma triggers, trauma healing, and things of that nature. And right now is the time that you're here to release a lot of traumas. And this is because the lunar points in the sky, which are karmic in nature, they're always opposite of each other. The South Node is in your 8th house of trauma with Libra, which is what the Venus retrograde rules. So this is the time that you can reflect on traumas and let it go, because that's the energy of the South Node. The South Node is represented by a dragon's tail in mythology, and it's emptying out this area of your life with things that don't serve you. So trauma issues that you have related to Libra is going to empty out. So think about, what are some traumas that you have specifically about relationships, partnerships, both personally, professionally? Are you the type of person that tries to keep the peace to a fault? This is one of the lower manifestations of Libra. The higher manifestation of Libra is that it's justice seeking and it wants to create fairness for everyone, but it's also a very harmonizing sign. And so sometimes people just will kind of hold back in expressing themselves because they want to keep the peace. This isn't something that serves you, and this is an opportunity to let those practices go. Because on the opposite end, on the North Node, we have that in Aries. And this is about being a leader, speaking up for yourself, being independent, and being more assertive and courageous. And it's in your 2nd house of things that support you. So this is a great time to let these sorts of traumas go. What traumas have you had with relationships, romance? What have you learned in your early childhood? I know someone who has had trauma related to the parents getting divorced when he was younger, and so that also ties into your 3rd house. So if you have something like this, you can be like, okay, I experienced this trauma related to partnerships. Where did this show up in my childhood? How is this affecting my mindset, the way that I communicate, the way that I think and see the world? This is a great time to empty out whatever doesn't serve you in that area of your life. And this is especially beneficial for Pisces risings, because Pisces have a tendency to struggle with boundary issues. And this is because Pisces dissolves boundaries. And so with Pisces dissolving boundaries, there can be very much this keeping the peace and stuff, especially since even though Libra is the sign that's often associated with harmony, it's a scale that measures the harmony, and life isn't harmonious by nature, right? So this means that you're going to inevitably have challenges that come up. And when that happens, you want to make sure that because of your trauma, you aren't holding back and hiding. But if this is something that you do struggle with, this can be a time to be like, how can I change that? And a great way to do this is to connect with a Libra, like an actual Libra archetype. My moon is in Libra. If you want support on this, I'm happy to provide you with a reading. Just go to my website and I can give you specific insights. I have a reading specifically called Your Badass Energy Bitch, and it's designed specifically for empaths, and I was inspired to create this for Pisces who struggle with boundaries. So right now is an excellent time to invest in yourself and your resources to see how this can support you, especially if this is a journey that you've been going on before, because then you'll be revisiting the situation. And for those of you guys who have been a coaching client of mine, the title is already familiar to you, and it's basically an adapted version of the course that I created, but this one is with an astrological twist where I analyze your chart and I tell you the best way for you to manage people-pleasing tendencies. And right now, more than ever, we have so many supportive transits that are really going to help you to really overcome these challenges. And so this is just a flavor of how Venus retrograde can show up if you, this is about what ultimately supports you, and the traumas that we have, the loops that we're in, these things don't support you. And so this is something that right now you can empty out with the South Node in your 8th house Libra, but also with Venus retrograding in Leo here. Not only is it going to more naturally empty out, but it's also going to help you as far as how you handle these conflicts. And this is a great time to engage with it in a way that's more inspiring and positive, because the lower manifestation of Leo is that it can be stubborn, it can be egotistical, and it doesn't see things from a perspective outside of themselves because they're very sensitized and they feel hurt, and so they get very guarded, and that's not really beneficial. But if this is you, you can look at, when have I done these things? How can I let this go? Maybe talk to a Libra or talk to someone one-on-one. If you're in a partnership with someone who is positive and healthy and supportive, maybe work through this with someone if it's something that feels aligned for you. Now, if it's trauma triggering for you, then don't do this. And you're gonna know, since I'm not looking at your chart, I don't know if using this energy is going to be to your ultimate benefit or not. It can either show up as this is something that you could do one-on-one or do it privately. But feel into it, experiment with your life, see what actually works for you. Because this is an excellent time to get rid of childhood mindset beliefs that's holding you back about business, about romantic partnerships, the way the trauma shows up, and how this affects your health. Another thing that you can do is to do, as you're working through these things, do some daily exercises out in the sun, stretching your spine. It's something that can be really beneficial. And this one sounds a little cheesy, but there is some neuroscience behind it where they actually say that when you want to be more confident in speaking up, you put your hands up in the air, like, or I don't know if you can see, but basically it's like putting your arms like this. It's like that Wonder Woman pose and stuff, and you talk to yourself in the mirror and you say confident, inspiring things. You make declarations about yourself. Now, this is very like, it kind of gives me like basic bitch vibes, but it's very aligned with this placement because it's confidence boosting. If you look at yourself in the mirror or you say this declaration when you're in the sun, that's very putting yourself in the spotlight. It's using solar energy, right? You're feeling good about yourself. And doing this habitually, and while you're doing this, stretching your spine and doing spinal exercises, these are things that can boost your confidence. And so this is something that is so important, and particularly when you have Leo in your 6th house, you need to make sure that you are in the best work environment. You need to make sure that you really take care of your health. Whatever you do to take care of your health, you want it to be quality, whether that's how you exercise, the supplements that you take, the services that you get. You know, if you get chiropractic care, which is great for someone who has this placement because taking care of your health is really important. You want to make sure that you have the best chiropractor. I wouldn't recommend that you go to a student clinic because then you're not going to get the best treatment. Wherever Leo is in your chart, you want to have the absolute best for yourself. Okay, so these are things that you can do. But going back to boundaries, another thing I did want to mention is that because Pisces is about dissolving boundaries, the opposite sign is about the opposite thing. So this is where you have Virgo, and Virgo is about having boundaries. So you can also look at that placement as well. But I feel like I've exhausted so much time and energy talking about what to do if you're struggling with boundaries. It's not the only thing that I talked about, but as a Pisces sun myself who doesn't struggle with boundaries, because of the placements that I have my sun in 9th house, which is planetary joy. For those of you guys, if you have your sun in the 9th house, this is considered to be a planetary joy placement. And I also have positive aspects. Positive aspects reveal how the planets interact with each other and whether the connection and the way that they interact is easy or there are challenges involved. And for me, I have a really easy placement, so I don't really struggle with boundaries. And sometimes I get so like bored where I'm just like, oh my god, everyone talks about Pisces and not having boundaries and stuff like that. So if this is you and you feel like you don't struggle with this and you want a different type of video where I give recommendations that isn't as centered around boundaries, comment below, make that request. I'll be happy to do that. And please continue joining me for the rest of the 40 days with Jaymie during J-me Scorpio AF Astrologer for Venus Retrograde in Leo series. And basically I'm going to spend the next few days going over every rising sign and what you can expect and the best way for you to use this energy. This isn't just about me telling you about how things are going to turn out, but this is also about me telling you how you can use this energy, because it's in fated Leo, not fated Leo, it's in free will Leo. So this is all about really being able to choose the kind of experiences that you're going to have. And so these are things that I will be discussing. So far I've done a video on Leo rising, Virgo risings, and Pisces risings. Comment below to get first dibs on what your rising sign is or the rising sign that you want me to talk about next, and I'll do that tomorrow. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.